Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to share how to get everything on the table with 100% information and 0% debate, as discussed in the book How Great Decisions Get Made by Don Maruska. Whenever you're interacting with someone, whether it be with a personal relationship or a group of people you're managing in a business, there's times where you have to get everything out on the table and figure out what to do. This can be done through debate or by seeking transparent information. When everyone's sharing their point and you're trying to figure out what to do, you should focus on not debating and just seeking information. Because debating, which means ultimately having an argument, really gets in the way of getting everything on the table and acquiring all the needed information. And on top of that, it can alienate people and damage your relationships. With this being said, I now want to go through some cost of debating, and then share some steps to properly get everything on the table, focusing 100% on information. So the first negative cost of debate is that debate polarizes positions. Rather than having everyone search for the best opinion together, debate forces each side to advocate its own case, ultimately being divisive. The second thing debate does is it hides rather than discloses important information. Because you're focused on debating your side, you aren't concerned with being transparent. And finally, the third negative cost is that even the winners lose. Because you're in a competition of getting your point across, even when you do get your point across, you rarely get to the fact of the matter. What it comes down to is debating is a good game, but a bad model for sorting out issues with other people. You must recognize debate for the fear-driven dynamic it is, and adopt a better process for resolving tough issues. And I'm now going to go through this process. Number 1 is to use your shared hopes as the basis for evaluation. What this means is that before even evaluating options, reflect on the shared hopes of the group and what you're looking to accomplish. From here, number 2 is to begin with the status quo option before proceeding to the more adventuresome options. And what this means is to focus on the most simple and practical options first. Then number 3 is to start with the option's negative points. What you're doing here is playing devil's advocate and trying to pick apart the negative aspects of the option. After that, number 4 is to instruct everyone to listen to what others say without questioning or debating, and this may be the most crucial step. Number 5 is then state the positives about the option. You should follow the same guidelines and procedures you followed for step number 3, but just express the flip side. Next, number 6 is to proceed to express the negatives and positives for each of the remaining options. And finally, number 7 is, after hearing all of the negatives and positives for each of the options, to then invite suggestions for new alternatives. It's so important to get everything out on the table to make the right decisions and solve problems. Don't debate and realize the dynamics are based on fear. Instead, revel in the freedom and productivity that come from a respectful, insightful, and efficient exchange of information, which is done by following these steps. And by doing so, it will assist you with making a tremendous impact in this world and crafting a life of significance.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.